Hey, everybody.
Hey, everybody. Eric, you got the
What's
wrong
up?
layout again.
Oh,
Welcome to the Wrestling Through the Years podcast. I am the Big Diz, Big D-I-Z, Dizzle, the main man, Captain Sexy. And I'm here with the most knowledgeable wrestling fan of all time, Eric.
thank you.
I'm here with Big Dutchy Dutch. Doug's here, everybody.
Hi.
Hi,
I'm
Dutch.
here with the man that puts the E in enormous penis. Eric, everybody. MoneyE.
What's up?
We're here for another great week of wrestling, ladies and gentlemen. It's Backlash 2009 this week. We will talk a little bit of current here because it was a fun week. The stuff that I liked, Pat McAfee's promo on Monday. I thought he did a great job. I thought Lyra Valkyria really came out of her shell for once, and I thought she actually did a damn good job and a good promo.
Did you see her backstage thing after? Like, she did a little backstage thing. I don't know, for like digital. So it showed up on my Facebook reels. And she's apologizing to Bayley, for trusting Becky and all that. And it's almost like she's making this about not just, getting revenge on the fact that Becky beat the crap out of her, but also the fact that, she's getting revenge for Bayley.
Yeah. I thought Bayley was going to be the one that turned heel. I mean, she still could.
She could, but I don't see it happening yet.
Do you like that Becky turned heel?
I don't mind it as much, and I think it works because if you're going to get Lyra Valkyria over, I think this is the way to do it. I think you put her in a storyline with even if Becky wins the title offer, first that legitimizes the title because you have a big name as the champion. And then you can do an angle where Lyra eventually works her ass off and gets it back from Becky. So there's a lot of angles that could go with that to really help that title that desperately needs it. So I don't hate the direction that they're going with it. But whenever, somebody turns heel and they're hitting somebody with their finish and the crowd's going one more time, I don't know if that's a great heel turn.
Yeah. And by the way, let me just add this to that. When Lyra came in and all that, and she was doing the stuff where, Becky kind of took her under her wing. Becky leaves. She ends up in a program with Pure Fusion Collective, who I'm sorry. The only thing they're going to get you over is a bridge, because that's what you're going to want to jump off after working with them.
Well, when the leader of the group gets released, it kind of tells you the angle didn't work.
Well, yeah, because the thing is that nobody really – Sonya Deville sucked. Like, I did not like the Sonya Deville character. I felt like she was annoying, and it didn't work for me. Shayna Baszler was a badass in NXT, and she had Marina Shafir and Jessamine Duke to kind of, surround her, and it worked. Mm-hmm. Okay. Because as dangerous as she was, when she was finally tested, they didn't do the stupid bullshit that MVP did for Bobby Lashley, and that's distract you 30 seconds into the match so Shayna could win. Mm-hmm. They actually let the matches be competitive. Yeah. Zoe Stark, there's just no personality to her. So it's just the group just wasn't going to work because
Shayna's the only one that actually has something, and she's never been presented right.
Yeah. Because
except NXT
she was presented great, but then she moved up to the main roster, and then unfortunately Vince McMahon saw her driver's license and saw that she was 40 years old.
Yeah.
And it was the beginning of the end from there, and probably a few other things, which I won't get into because, we're only a few minutes in. I don't want to get kicked off the air yet.
Yeah. I think Shayna Baszler's always had potential to do very good business for them. Imagine what a Rhea, Shayna match could look like with with Shayna being built up the proper way.
Yeah.
She always never has.
They had a really good match in NXT.
Yeah, and exactly. And she had a great NXT run. But it's crazy. You go back to Sam Roberts talking about when he got in trouble for talking shit about Bianca Belair in NXT when it was her against Shayna. And like, how could anyone believe that Bianca's going to beat Shayna? Roles are kind of reversed now.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Sam Roberts has no credibility. When you're facing your head looks like my penis if it had facial hair, like you've got no credibility.
I don't mind.
I mean, his head's a lot bigger than my downstairs. Still,
well, there you go. But I like that. Not Doug's dick, but I liked Lyra's promo, especially because one of the reasons Becky heel turn wasn't working was because Lyra isn't a strong enough babyface to turn heel on. And I'm sorry, I hate to break it to you, but it's the truth. But her coming out with what she came out with on Monday, that's a very good and big step in the right direction.
Yeah.
And I think, even though she was getting a couple what's during her promo, which is the worst chant of all time. It's the worst. And the fact that people
it's so overdone.
Yeah, and it's like sometimes there's really good promos that get fucked up by that. And I thought that was one of them, and she showed fire for the first time, and she actually really. It seemed like she, I'm like, I can buy into this. I kind of want to see this match. It's going to make me tune in to next week. So I like that. AEW wise, I really liked, I really like Lashley and MJF and the thing they got going on with MJF trying to get
the only thing that bothers me is the fact that MVP and Shelton want MJF in the group so bad. I'm afraid that they might just, they might kick Lashley out of the group.
Yeah, they and that could be a way. That could be an angle they do. But
Lashley goes face.
Yeah, but the thing is that MVP, Shelton Benjamin, and Bobby Lashley work together. Yeah. They always have. I mean, they bitched about wanting to be together for so long. I can't imagine why they would, I can't imagine them being okay with this because, MVP's going around calling Triple H a racist because he wouldn't put the Hurt Business back together.
This has been good shit, so I'm not sitting here and shitting on it.
No, I'm just saying is that like if they go the direction that I think they're going in, which is for them to screw over Bobby Lashley to bring MJF in, I think it's a mistake because I think the three of them are.
Yeah, but that's a theory you have. We can't judge somebody on something they haven't done yet. We can't say that. Could that be a direction? Sure. Could they be alluding that? But they also could just let Max in the group, or this could lead to Max. I think him hurting somebody. He's not going to end up hurting Lashley. I think he could be hurting Hangman next week in the Owen thing or Ospreay or whatever. This could go in a few different directions, and that's what's cool about the story. I see with what you see and how you think that it might go, but I'm not judging them on something that they haven't even done yet. And they haven't really alluded to it. Just because Shelton just liked the broads. And he said he had respect for MVP.
Well, he's also not married.
Could MVP turn heel on Lashley through this? 100%. But I don't think that that's guaranteed where the story's going. So I'm not going to analyze it too much.
I have a theory. Maybe this leads to MJF forming his own group.
Yeah.
And bringing two guys to go at it against Hurt.
It could be.
Syndicate. And get the tag team titles off them.
Whatever the fuck Wardlow's doing.
Trying to get a job with WWE.
That's what most of the guys are doing. But I do. The angle has been very good so far. And I think everything that they're doing has been good shit. And the stuff last night with him making fun of Bob and him getting mad at Bob and telling him to get the Rogaine and stuff. And I thought
which hit a little too close to home.
Yeah, I think that's why you don't like that. But I think it's good. And I think it's really entertaining stuff. And you're not an MVP fan. I find him entirely entertaining. And I find him great on camera. And I think he's a great manager.
I mean, some people feel that. I don't. But that's just me. And it might just be me.
What direction do you think they go? Hangman winning or Ospreay? Because I think the winner of that is winning the title at All In.
Yeah, it's Will.
And by the way, that's going to be at Double or Nothing. They're not doing it next week.
Yeah, they're going to do
Double or Nothing. Yeah,
they're going to do Will and they're gonna fuck Hangman somehow. You're gonna get All In's gonna be him and Swerve teaming up.
Hangman and Swerve, right?
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a Hangman and Swerve uniting against maybe the Young Bucks, maybe something else, a bigger threat, maybe even the Hurt Syndicate.
Well, what I can actually see happening is those two idiots who unfortunately have power coming out and accidentally super kicking Hangman next week.
Well, because what they built with the Swerve and the Hangman and you burned my house down. You deserved it. I know. I
loved that.
Yeah, I thought it was a good little angle. And I'd like to see him continue to play off of that. And I'd like to see, I think they'd be a cool tag team. For both of those guys' careers and where they're going, them teaming up for a big match against the Bucks or somebody makes total sense for them.
Yeah.
Maybe even have a small run of the tag team titles.
Yeah, but Hangman and Mr. Fletcher, who's somebody that I've talked mad shit about, not mad shit, but just I'm not a big fan of him. Yeah. Great match. I got a chance to watch it. It was a damn good match. I thought that was a good way, because you had a Dynamite episode with not a lot of Death Riders. This last Wednesday was actually pretty strong.
And I do think Now, do you think Joe could win the title in 2 weeks in the cage?
No, unless you have fans coming in with guns threatening to blow Tony's head off. No.
Who does he face at Double or Nothing then? If he's not,
they might do one of those stupid Anarchy in the Arena things.
Okay.
It'll probably more than likely it'll probably be all the shit riders, including Marina, versus and probably Matthew and Nicholas versus fucking Swerve and Kenny, or Matthew and Nicholas and Okada versus Kenny and Swerve and the Ops. And probably Willow. And if not Willow, they'll just put a penis on Marina, or she probably already has one anyway. She acts like she does. And just have her wrestle the guys. The only thing I ask for, and Tony Khan, please make it happen. In the cage match between Moxley and Joe, please let that bitch, Shafir, take a muscle buster.
Off the cage?
I don't care. Just let her take one for the love of God. I'm begging.
Yeah.
Do something to her.
Yeah, Doug's not a fan. I think last week's SmackDown is making me really look forward to this week's one, because last week's SmackDown was one of the best SmackDown in years.
Yeah. And
I thought it was a damn good episode. And I'm really excited for tonight. So we had some good wrestling this week. All right, let's move on. Backlash 2009. 182,000 buy rate, baby. We had 8,357 people in attendance.
What town were they in?
What town were they in? They were in Providence, Rhode Island. At the Dunkin' Donuts Center. You should be familiar with that one. Tubby.
Yep.
Alcoholic.
You're an alcoholic, Tubby. No, you're not, Tubby. I mean,
I'm not an alcoholic either. I'm not the one with the drink.
Hey, somebody has to have a beverage on that. When you're sitting next to you, you would understand. But we're here, 2009, baby. Yeah, even fucking Eric's pouring up on this bitch.
He's drinking urine.
That's pee?
That's what it looked like.
You're a handsome guy.
No, it's pineapple juice. Thank you very much.
It's pineapple juice. And you know why he's drinking that. All right. We got Christian and Jack Swagger starting this bitch off. Kofi and Dolph was the dark match. Christian and Jack Swagger for the ECW title. And I'll let you get in your Christian and poor Christian rant, even though you kind of hate him, so it's a funny take for you to take. But I thought a couple of my notes were that Jack Swagger looked very good and athletic in this. And I thought that this is one of the better matches I've seen him in. And I know he's young and green there, but he was honestly better than some of his AEW shit. And I thought it was a nice physical match. I thought Christian played the underdog babyface role perfectly. And I thought Jack was a good fucking big, bulky asshole. And everybody loves a good, big, bulky asshole. But I thought it was very physical and it was a good fight. And the finish was crafty, and I thought it made Christian look very witty. Yeah, I thought it made Christian look like a smart baby face that, he cheated, but Jack was trying to cheat too, and Christian just outsmarted him. And I thought it made for a fun, entertaining match.
I forgot that he came back in 2009.
Well, yeah, because Vince McMahon didn't want anybody to really know.
Christian's one of the more hated guys by Vince McMahon of all time.
Yeah, and here's the thing, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because I've said it many times before, because I don't like what Christian's doing now.
Yeah.
But like the only way he'll change my mind and make me appreciate what he's doing now is that when Vince kicks the bucket, he goes on TV and says, "Thank God Vince McMahon is dead." So that way I'm not the only one saying it in a public forum.
Yeah.
But the whole thing with Christian, when you basically, you're the owner of the company and you basically go to the announcer and say, "Hey, Christian's coming back tonight, but I need you to act like he's like an ex-girlfriend of yours, and I need you to pay no attention to him. Just say, oh, Christian's back. Okay, cool. And then, it gets treated, and he's already on the third brand to begin with. And it's just like, again, I'll say it. Vince McMahon has always hated Christian, and he hated him even more in 2009 when Christian came back, because Christian proved that he could be a star in TNA. Now I get it. TNA drew 300 people a show, and I understand that, they weren't really a big place, but he still was on top somewhere.
I've always liked Christian,
and not just on his wife.
I've always liked Christian better than Edge. And I've always thought that Christian's work rate and his performances and his matches, and even his promo. Edge has had some really good shit, and he has an all right match on the card we're talking about here today. But Christian, I really think, always got the raw deal from Vince, and Vince never saw it, and he always saw Edge as a star. But whenever Christian went somewhere else, he was one of the more talked about things going on in that company. And I know you don't like his AEW stuff because of the dead stuff, but a lot of people find that shock value very entertaining and really like it. And it's kind of makes him a heel that'll go to places that nobody else will go to. And he's done very good heel shit, and even the stuff. He's actually making me like Nick Wayne, and I never thought I fucking would.
Yeah.
So I do think that he does a couple things, because I hate Nick Wayne. The way he looks, he just bothers me.
Well, if you listen to Christian's promos, one of the things he does is Nick's mother.
Yeah, he just told him he celebrated him winning the belt by fucking his mom hard.
Yeah.
And and it was great, though. That's good shit. And I find him to be a very entertaining and an incredible heel. Even at this age, he's still effective and good. So I like Christian.
I think he's going to turn babyface soon.
I think him and Copeland are going to reunite and take on FTR at some point.
But I think they did say they wanted to retire together at the same time. So,
well, yeah, that's why Edge went there, went to AEW, because he knew Christian was there. He knew Christian wasn't going to come back. So he's like, you know what? I'm going to him. And I think Edge has tarnished. I don't think Christian has tarnished his.
No, not at
now,
all.
there's one, again, I don't like the whole dead father thing, but that's just me. But he's getting it over with people. Edge has tarnished his legacy. And the fact that he defended the nail in the board spot with Moxley, and the nails getting stuck in Moxley's back.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you. It wasn't good. Oh, I don't pay attention to negative criticisms. They're like, you should, because that was the shits. If you're going to fucking defend it, then fucking your wife, Beth Phoenix, should set your testicles on fire while you're sleeping. Like, you are a fucking moron if you think that there is anything redeemable about that fucking spot. You are the dumbest fuck in the history of dumb fucks. Make sure that's a short.
You're kind of short yourself. I'm the only tallish guy here, and I'm not even 6 foot. But
I'm short in a lot of places.
Yeah.
Make sure that's a short too.
you want the world to know about your pee-pee? Even though you didn't name that, so I guess I just outed you. But I get
maybe I'll get pity sex.
There you go. Everybody loves good pity sex. Adam Copeland.
It's a bum.
It is right in saying one thing, that it went viral, and it did go viral. Because when
like gonorrhea.
But to answer your question, when you say name one thing, it got people talking, and that's something this company desperately needs. So,
yeah, but in a positive way?
No, but it got people talking.
Yep.
You know how wrestling goes. Positive doesn't always mean something. It got people talking, and it was a viral video, and it got millions of views, and people that weren't into wrestling were hitting me up about that. So I think it did what it kind of wanted to do. But do I like the angle, or do I like the segment? Absolutely not. I thought it was cringy. But it was doing something that – because I don't like it. Like, not, I'm not the one that say it's fake, but it's worked. You're not supposed to really hurt each other. I know shit happens, but when you're doing that, why do you got to make it like to where you're definitely going to hurt each other? Like, just do the UFC and pound somebody's brain in that if that's the itch you want to scratch. But you don't need to be putting spikes in your back, in your real flesh.
Yeah, that's going over.
But we already talked about that. But this match with Christian and Swagger, I thought was a very good wrestling match. What did you think of the action in the ring, Doug?
I thought it was very good. I felt like the two of them had really good chemistry.
I agree.
And I feel like, because I think this is like the second Backlash in a row where they opened up with a title change. And he but no, I thought it was really well worked. I liked the finish. Like, I thought it was, I just thought it was really well done. I give it an 8.4. Cleneth, there's your decimals, you son of a bitch, because you're not here.
But I give it a 3.5. Good opening match.
Oh yeah, that's right.
You did wrong.
Yeah.
You did wrong.
3.4.
What Eric give it?
I thought it was a good opening match. 3.5. Good solid match.
It's funny, the AEW pay-per-view, which one was it? Revolution, where Swagger opened up, and then we go back years and years later, and fucking Swagger's still opening up the show.
Yeah.
Yep.
But this match was actually better.
Yeah, I give it a 3.3. I thought it was very decent, and I thought both guys actually worked pretty hard, and I think Christian carried Swagger to a pretty good match, but Swagger did his part pretty good.
Yeah.
So, I like that one.
Yeah, I forgot ECW was still around.
Yeah. Well, they weren't in their heyday. Nobody was fucking watching. That's
no, this was on Sci-Fi, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was on Sci-Fi. You're disgusted by Zen stuff. Why are you making that face?
There's a trivia question. Who was the last ECW champion?
Ezekiel Jackson.
Very good, Doug.
Everybody knows that. Didn't he beat Zack Ryder?
No, he beat Christian.
Zack Ryder was the champion, wasn't he?
No.
He was on ECW, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was trying to get the title shot, but he didn't
never
get
gave
it.
it to him.
Canceled before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the opener. ECW, there has been times where I go back and watch ECWE, and it's pretty, there's some good action at times. And there's like William Regal's little stint there was still some pretty good heel shit.
Yeah.
But
I like Yoshitatsu.
I know you were a Yoshi fan.
Even when CM Punk was there, it was pretty decent.
Yeah, CM Punk got his start there after OVW, and he was real good.
Speaking of CM Punk, we'll get to that later.
We will get to actually in like a match after this. But first we got Steamboat Willie, Ricky Steamboat, and the Dragon,
Chris Jericho
against Chris Jericho. How old was Dragon at this time?
He was definitely in his
has to be in his 60s, right?
early 60s, I think, because I think he's almost 70. He's in his 70s now, I think.
Well, this was over 15 years ago, wasn't it?
It was 15 years ago, yeah.
He's like, I don't know, but I'll look it up. I just said you were the most knowledgeable man in wrestling to open this show. now we're good.
Well, I don't know the fucking ages.
I can tell you when the Raws took now.
I'm going to guess Steamboat 77.
Now or back then? He was not 77 for that match. Okay, right now.
He's 72 now. So 16 years ago, he would have been 56. So he was still.
How old is Jericho now?
That's in 56.
That's what we're Google. It takes everybody. Chris Jericho. 54.
54.
I think who looks better, Jericho now or Steamboat in that match?
Steamboat looked good. There's a couple. There's the one major nitpick that I have in that match.
What
is how Steamboat had no idea how to apply a figure 4 leg lock. If you watch him try to figure out how to put the fucking hold on.
For a man that went an hour with Ric Flair multiple
How many fucking matches did he have with Ric Flair, who, by the way, used back in the day, back in the day when he wrestled Steamboat, Flair's finish was not grabbing your dick. It was a figure 4 leg lock. So
the dick grab came later.
Yeah. And you have no idea how the fuck to put it on. How many times did you work with Greg Valentine? All right. Now, the two of them use two different, apply it in two different ways, but it's just like.
Whose is better?
Flair's. Hands down.
We got a Flair.
That's saying something because
took us 6 years.
Doug hates Flair.
I hate Greg Valentine more.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So. But that's like the main gripe. And I don't like Ricky Steamboat. I think he's a nice guy in person. I've met him in person. He took off with my wrestling magazine so he could show Billy Gunn that he actually knew how to throw a clothesline. But I don't like
his character.
You don't like his decision making because of the whole thing when he listened to his wife and went home. And
because he was, when he was married to Bonnie, he was a cuck.
Yeah.
All right.
That's your Cornette thing, like Cornette hating Becky Lynch for leaving and having a kid. And I understand, but sometimes, life takes precedence.
It's not even necessarily him leaving and have that was fine. It was just bad timing. And it was.
You're in the middle of the run. You're making money. You're one of the guys. You're the number 2 baby face. It's Hogan than you. I understand why you would want somebody to stay in that situation and not, or make his own decision when you felt like he was listening to his wife.
When Jim Cornette called him to come to Smoky Mountain, he was like, "Hey, I want you to do our Carolina Memories show," and Bonnie said, "Bonnie, I'm gonna go to Smoky Mountain. They're gonna do a Carolina Memories show." Okay, when is it? Well, it's this date. Oh no, you're cutting the grass that day. I don't know if that was it, but I don't know if that was the actual thing. But she's like, "No, I have something else for you to do. You're doing what I want," and it's just like, "Fuck off, bitch." It took him 18 years to finally say that. And then she repaid him by owning the rights to his name, and not giving it up for 4 years. The rights to the name.
The Dragon or Ricky Steamboat or
the whole thing, the whole Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
So what did he go by?
He just went by his real name, which was Richard Blood. Like when they interviewed him for DVD releases between 2003 and 2006, he could not be known as Ricky Steamboat. They had to type him in as Richard Blood because Bonnie was not ready to let go of the name.
Crazy.
Because anyway.
What's that?
But
all right.
But yeah, so like, but personally, so personally, I don't like Ricky Steamboat, but he was one of the all-time greatest baby faces.
Yeah.
And even here, not knowing how to do it a figure four leg lock aside, the match was still pretty decent with Jericho.
It was pretty decent, but his performance at WrestleMania was arguably better.
Yeah.
Because he got to he really shined in that environment, and maybe because it was a tag, but I don't know. Him and Jericho going like one-on-one, I thought Jericho bumped his ass off and really tried hard for Steamboat.
Yeah.
I thought Jericho was trying to make this a 5-star classic. Steamboat just didn't have it in him as much anymore. I mean, you get old.
Well, and it's also his first singles match in 16 years.
Yeah, so there you go.
He didn't, the last time he wrestled,
ring rust.
The last time he wrestled a singles match, and JR brought it up on the show, but JR was wrong, was not Bash at the Beach 94, but it was Clash of Champions on August 23rd, 1994 in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Wrestled Steve Austin for the U.S. title, and that was his last match because he broke his back in that match.
You're like, I got to make up for Googling earlier. I got to show off my muscle a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
And I agree. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, and I know you're not nobody I really talk to wrestling-wise is a huge Ric Flair fan. His matches with Steamboat is some of the greatest wrestling I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I'm one of those that don't think he's overrated. And I do think that he gets the praise that he deserves. Do I think that he's kind of a crazy old man now? Yeah. But Ric Flair in the 80s is hard to beat for me. Not my favorite. I always liked his opponent more. I'm a Dusty guy. And I did grow up for any of it. But going back and watching as a kid and shit with the DVDs we had and stuff, Dusty and Flair is one of my favorite feuds. But Flair and Steamboat put on classics and multiple of them. So as Steamboat and Steve Austin in WCW is fucking awesome.
Yeah. It's just the thing for me. Hogan and Flair, yes, they basically ran the eras that I love. And I can't take that away from them because they were, they helped build my love for wrestling. It's just the people that they are now. I unfortunately cannot look past the people that they are, in this day and age.
We watch Benoit, dude. We still enjoy matches with Chris Benoit, for God's sakes. I know, but come on, Jay. I mean, as far as bad people,
Well, no, I'm just saying is that I'll still go back and I'll still enjoy, stuff that Hogan and Flair did.
You think they suck personally? That's all you have to say. And there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people think both of those two guys suck personally.
Yeah.
That's not an unpopular opinion to have. A lot of people would agree with you. You could probably start a Facebook group with that. A lot of people think both those guys are trash.
Personally. Ring wise, back in their heyday, they were top notch.
Yeah. I don't know anybody, so I don't judge him. You've seen a lot of shit on Hogan and stuff. Flair's more just sad, whereas Hogan, you do see some sinister shit sometimes. But they're both, for what they did in the business, and this is a wrestling, and I don't give a shit about that stuff. I never have. It's entertaining for the show and stuff, so I don't mind, you going on, and you do what you got to do all the time, and that's why I love you. But as far as the business, even Hogan is not in my top whatever for favorites, but I do recognize that the golden age is a great era, and it's not my favorite, but it's a classic fucking era, and that is his era. He made wrestling national. It could have been whoever, it could have been whatever, what ifs. He's the guy that went national. Vince is the one that's the visionary because he did it, and Hulk was his guy that made it happen. So you can never take that away from Hulk. And John Cena, we can all say what we want, not the greatest heel turn of all time. That still belongs to Hulk Hogan. And that is my favorite era in wrestling. And he was the top heel world champion for it. So it's hard for me to discredit him. A lot of my favorite stuff was stuff outside of him, and Macho DDP and Goldberg and his streak, and Malenko matches and Ray and Eddie and shit. A lot of my favorite stuff didn't involve him, but him dropping the title to Goldberg and Luger is fucking amazing. He was a part of great stuff that I like, but he's nowhere near my favorite. Yeah. Ric Flair, I can watch matches of him even up to, late WCW, like to 97, 98. Because I even like Flair as a babyface horseman fighting the NWO and representing old school wrestling.
Yeah.
WCW.
That's a Flair I like.
I like that Flair too. But Flair in the 80s and the Nature Boy, and for what he was for the time, going against everybody at the town, he fucking territory wrestling is Ric Flair. Yeah. So it's hard for me to, and it's Harley Race and so many other guys too.
And I'll still go back and I'll watch this stuff because I do enjoy a lot of his work. Now I'll usually root for the guy that he's going against, even though I know that he's going to beat Pez Wadley. But so I've got no problem going back and watching his stuff. He's just, again, he's not one of my favorite people personally. Neither is Hogan, but it's more just because of,
what they did for the industry.
Yeah. Like what they did for the industry, they helped the industry. All right. Flair helped the territories. Hogan helped Vince. Hogan helped build the WWF.
Yeah.
And
those are two things that we love.
Yeah. So they did, they did their part in the business. Now, and a lot of their decisions that they made, like Hogan not wanting to work with Bret Hart, which Hogan still lies about because he was apparently never told about.
Well, I know that's the thing too, where I know you have the view that it's like, hey man, they could have done the same thing with fucking Macho Man. Like, yes, Hogan did, and he is the guy, and that's why I said that. It could have been other people, but it was. But I know you're the belief, and a lot of people are. And sometimes I ponder the things like they could have been just as successful if they went with Macho, or if Vince's original idea for Dusty and they had got him on. Whoever, maybe they could have done it with Hulk Hogan. Maybe WCW could have done it without Hulk Hogan. It is hard to imagine though. But, and Ric Flair, maybe instead of, maybe if he dropped to Kerry and Kerry had a nice long run, maybe the NWA would still be around. Like, it's fun to think about shit like that.
Yeah.
But they did mean a lot for the business. But that neither of them are in this match. So let's move on. A Ricky Steamboat, there was a layer missing and there was a little ring rust, but I thought him and Jericho worked a perfectly fine match. That was, if it was, years earlier, it would have been a classic.
Yeah.
But
if it would have been 90, if it would have been like 97, 98. Now, again, Steamboat obviously out of the ring at this time. I feel like, and again, this is another thing, but I'm going to make it a quick tangent.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Steamboat, one of the reasons why Steamboat quit, obviously he had the back injury, right?
Yeah.
Lloyd's of London is a big insurance company. And all wrestlers back in the day, when they got hurt, they would take out a Lloyd's of London insurance policy. All right. Mr. Perfect had one at one point, or Animal had one at one point, Rude had one at one point. And when you're hurt, like you have and the insurance policy will pay you for not getting in the ring and working.
Yeah, and you can't work. So the business, Vince and them hated it, but it was good for the boys.
Yeah, it was good for the boys because the boys could still get paid. Now, the problem is that when you're healed, because that was guaranteed money.
Yeah.
Right? You were not necessarily making guaranteed money.
Oh, it didn't start until way later.
Yeah. Well, I mean, WCW was making guaranteed money, but WWF was not.
Yes.
But in WCW, it's like, you're getting guaranteed money and you get to be home with your wife and kid because for some reason at the time you like your wife. But it's like, okay, fuck it. I'm taking the money and the time off.
Yeah.
And even though like Bischoff and like they were trying to find ways to get him back on television, the problem is they called him when Bonnie was home.
Yeah.
So But that's like another thing. Like Lloyd's of London is another. But Lloyd's of London, like they stay away from the wrestling business now.
And isn't it funny, WWF, and because the winner gets to always, tell history. And that is probably how it should be. The winner gets to, manipulate history, and that's how it goes. But how they the guaranteed contract killed WCW, and guys didn't work hard because they were getting guaranteed money, and it's bullshit. What are all the contracts now?
Everything's guaranteed now,
and the boys are working very hard, and so are the girls. Everybody works their ass off to put out a great product, and every contract is pretty much guaranteed. So I would never really, prescribe to that because, Hogan and I get it. They could go home, so they don't. But also, like, you're going to want to put on a great performance, so the business is doing well, so you get bonuses, and and you keep having a job, and you want the business to do well.
All right, so you get guaranteed money, obviously, right? Guaranteed money from a contract.
Yeah,
but also too, you get paid for the gate because that's money that because guaranteed money basically is. They have to reach into their bank account, and this is like money. We get guaranteed money, for our jobs. Eric does as well, because we're guaranteed to make, as long as we go to work, we're guaranteed to make however much an hour. All right. Their guaranteed contracts are a guaranteed amount of money, but also too, you slip in the gate, you slip in merch, you slip in fucking, royalties from like a video game or something.
Yeah, but the only difference is if we don't go to work, we're not getting paid unless you do vacation days or whatever. Whereas with their guaranteed contracts, they can miss a match. That's
why I said as long as we work, we get paid.
Yes,
they don't have to work to get paid,
which makes the word guaranteed mean a little bit more.
Yeah,
because they're
the same with most athletes.
Well, yeah, but that's how it is nowadays, and that's how. But they try to make it to where, well, the WCW guys were lazy because they had guaranteed money. Everybody has guaranteed money now, and nobody seems that lazy.
The guys in WCW were lazy because they were fucking old.
Yeah, they were old and steroided up and couldn't move as much anymore. So
yeah, but, most of them didn't like bumping to begin with.
Let's give this match a rating. I do
3-3.
This is kind of prime Jericho. 07 to this time. Into the 2010s a little bit, even the stuff with Edge. Jericho was really on his shit back then.
Yeah, he just came back.
If you're one of those guys he's been back for a couple. But if you're one of those guys that's like, I hate the learning tree, Jericho sucks, blah, blah, blah. If you go back and watch this, you'd be like, this is Chris Jericho? It's like a whole different fucking dude. And he's in shape for the money. He's a little chummed up here, but he's in pretty good shape, and he's working.
I love the haircut.
Yeah, well, that was the perfect douchey heel haircut for him. And this was right around this. I mean, it's a bit after, but this is Suit Jericho and Bad Guy Jericho, and he's pretty much still doing that.
I think he was still wearing the suits.
So there you go. And it was just really good. And to me, that's my favorite iteration. Whether you like List or you like, you're a Jericho.
I still think Y2J is the best.
Whether you're I'm a wizard Jericho type of guy. Or the demigod, whatever, whatever Jericho's your favorite.
Yeah. I'm a wizard.
Yeah. You like to
I like his first, when he first came into AEW, I liked that. And then I liked
a little bit of the bubbly.
Jericho, that's what that is.
Yeah.
And I like this Jericho, so.
Yeah, Les Champion was pretty good. But
I'll give this a 3 out of 10. 3 out of 5.
I give it a 2.8.
Okay.
I thought it was solid as fuck. But
yeah.
Not quite to the 3s. Next up, we got CM Punk and Kane.
This match, it felt like this match was kind of thrown together, even though there was a story coming out of WrestleMania. But I actually enjoyed this match. I feel like Punk should have gone over, but it's the same situation where it's just like they never want the Money in the Bank holder to have momentum, because they want the title, they want the cash in to be unexpected.
Yeah, and I get that, but it's also coming. This is the era, and that's the thing. A lot of people nowadays, Triple H's booking is predictable. It's a little too, and he doesn't take a lot of big swings. Vince took some big swings with unpredictable booking, but that usually just meant the wrong guy won a lot.
Yeah.
And the guy that should have won for the story just usually didn't. And it would kind of go in a different direction. And it would have made a lot of sense. And it would have been a great underdog win and a big upset and good momentum for him with having the case to beat an established name like Kane. But still, this was a really...
It was probably Michael Hayes that said, no, Kane's got to go over. Because Hayes, for some reason, Michael Hayes hated CM Punk.
He didn't get it. Not everybody's going to get it. That's just how it goes sometimes. Sometimes you miss brilliance.
Yeah, it was weird seeing CM Punk this so young in 09.
And let's be honest, everybody acts like they were a Punk fan since ROH. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I was still young, but I
didn't even know he was in Ring of Honor.
It took the pipe bomb for me. It took the pipe bomb, and maybe that makes me a casual Punk fan or whatever. I'm okay with that. After the pipe bomb, he was the man in the Summer of Punk and all that shit, and then I always believed that.
I started getting behind him in 2006 when he came into WWE CW. I started getting behind him. I couldn't figure out, I didn't understand why he always had heat. I thought Arn Anderson was just being a dick.
See, I was more, because I was still younger, so I was more I want to root for the baby faces I like and, fuck the heels. And when he was a baby face, at first I thought he was kind of lame. I really wasn't into him when I was younger. But then his heel turn was Straight Edge Society. I hated him so much. And that means he was doing his job great. Now I go back, and that's really good shit. I can watch Straight Edge Society Punk all fucking day. But then he got to do a really good character heel work back then. But when he did the pipe bomb, and now he's a babyface, and he's a good guy, and he's finally getting rid of John Cena and taking the belt off him and shit. And it's like, that was the shit I really fucked with. That's when it's like, all right, I'm a Punk guy forever.
The best, his best match as part of the Straight Edge Society is still Over the Limit 2010, when it's him and Ray in the hair versus mask match.
Oh, that's so good.
All right.
Him wearing
that it was almost like a mask that Delirious would wear in Ring of Honor.
It looks so goofy, and it worked though.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was so good.
But that is my all-time favorite Punk match. And now that's going back 15 years, but still.
It's a damn good match. I liked his stuff with Jeff Hardy a lot. And I also, for around, the time that he was a heel. But my favorite Punk match of all time will always be Cena and Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
There's a big fight in there in Chicago and everything that it's hard to beat. And I know that's a mainstream one to go for, but that's the one, man. If there's if one of his matches is getting put in the Hall of Fame, like Austin and Brett, it's going to be that one. In my opinion.
Yep. I can go back and watch that match over and over.
This match is my favorite match on the card thus far, even more than the opener, which I thought was really good. So I'll go up to a 3.5 for this.
I'll say 3.9.
Okay. I say 3.5 too.
Yeah, I thought they worked it. I thought it was a weird chemistry. And it's always a weird dynamic when you have a little baby face, but not someone that's usually seen as an underdog like Punk and a big menacing heel like Kane, and seeing their dynamic. But I thought they worked each other really well. I thought it was badass. And I thought, Punk chopping them down with the kicks and stuff was a good strategy. And the choke slam was a little, because they kind of did it like a bomb, like a.
Well, yeah, because he couldn't use both hands because Punk was working on the arm.
Yeah, and so that was, and it was cool, and I did like it, but it was a little bit of a anticlimactic because it wasn't like a big traditional choke slam, and they tried to make it impactful, but it was a little weird of a finish. But yeah, I give it a 3.5. What did you give it, Eric?
I give it 3.5.
Okay. All right. Oh, and the one choke slam counter he hit where he chopped that arm down was fucking badass too.
And Punk wasn't as over as he obviously as he's over today.
Yeah, I mean you could tell he was kind of the internet darling, and he was getting some cheers, but he wasn't over with the whole crowd. But the match slowly got over because of how good it was, and I really liked. Even though, that choke slam was a little weird to me, the kick before that to the head that Punk hit him with was bad fucking ass. All right. Next up, we got Matt Hardy versus Jeff. And This feud, a lot of people see as underwhelming, and they don't think they really had good chemistry for brother versus brother. The WrestleMania match is seen as not that great. I thought the WrestleMania match was better than this, to be honest. I think this is.
I thought this one was better.
So did I. I mean,
well, I mean,
it started out.
We
slow.
all agreed it'd be a shitty show. So, but it's good that we fucking have different opinions. But to me, it was a boring match, and but this and the Last Man Standing later for like hardcore matches. Cornette probably would have loved it because I felt like they spent a lot of time in the ring, and it was like a lot of time building that up, and they didn't really go to weapons to the very end. And to me, this one was a little plotting. It was a little slow. And there's something with Jeff without the makeup too was weird, and he was making weird faces. I didn't really enjoy the match itself. I really liked the finish, and I really liked the duct taping to the table and Matt pleading
that
for
was
his
so
life.
clever.
I thought it was a good, clever finish, and I thought Matt, begging and we're brothers and trying to go deep, and then finally, okay, I quit, and then Jeff does it anyway. I thought that was a really good finish, but the match wasn't. It wasn't what I would think that the Hardy brothers could do with each other. To me, I enjoyed the match. I thought the finish was a little lame of the WrestleMania match, but I enjoyed the WrestleMania match, the match itself, a little more.
A little bit of breaking news.
What do we got?
Apparently, releases are happening as we speak.
Right now? And this is an official source?
Apparently this has been reported by Sean Ross Sapp, and because they released a bunch of Office people, but apparently now they're starting to get the list of names, the list of talent that's.
All right,
that's
it seems to be going out everywhere. Oh my God! All right, yeah, I see two of them. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, you want me to read?
Yeah, because this is crazy.
Katana Chance,
who we know
is Casey Catanzaro.
Yes.
Caden Carter, who, by the way, is in a relationship with Damian Priest.
And that's her tag partner. They just wrestled on SmackDown.
They just wrestled on SmackDown. Dakota Kai's gone, which I'm kind of sad about because I did like Dakota Kai.
A member of Damage Control, so now I don't even know if Damage Control is a thing anymore.
Yeah. This one sucks. I don't like this. Braun Strowman.
Braun Strowman has been released by the WWE.
Again.
Once again. Right after Paul Heyman just said he sucks at that WrestleMania roast, and that's why he's not on WrestleMania. Now they got rid of him.
Yeah.
Again. Is it the third time or second time?
Second time. And by the way, you're getting rid of a SmackDown guy when you have a fucking 3-hour SmackDown. Makes perfect sense. You're going to hate this.
After the compliments, I saw the name when I just looked at my phone, but go ahead.
Cora Jade.
Oh, Cora Jade. That's not the one I thought you were going to. Cora Jade's gone.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dude, she was just doing the Impact stuff for him. And
yeah, she was. I had it. Here's actually.
She's probably going to go right to TNA.
Well, that's my theory is a lot of them are going to TNA. They're probably just getting released from WWE so TNA can pick them up.
Yeah, but still, I'm sure that's a lot less
money. All right, but
sure the paycheck's going to go down a bit.
But, well, I mean, they'll end up back in NXT somehow.
Because I don't think TNA is guaranteed money. I think that's on the – you got to draw a house.
Either that or they're going to end up working for AAA or something.
I don't know. Maybe that is guaranteed.
Eddie Thorpe, who, by the way, is in a relationship with Dakota Kai.
Yes.
Okay.
And Gigi Dolan.
Did you skip the one name on purpose, or did you say it? Because Shayna Baszler's been released.
Oh, shit, I forgot. Yeah,
because that's what I thought you were talking about, because I just was saying how she could be money.
Yeah.
And they got rid of her. Zoe Stark's the only Pure Fusion member left. So.
All right. And by the way, Shayna Baszler does not surprise me. And the reason why is because Zoe Stark has kept her mouth shut.
Yeah, on Twitter, Shayna's been bitching.
On X, Shayna Baszler has been bitching. Oh, so you have to have a nice ass and a good pussy to be on TV, and then you have to look like this in pictures of Liv Morgan to be on TV. Like, you don't need talent. Which, by the way, Liv Morgan has a lot of in-ring talent.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
she was just trying to make a point. No.
Apparently, they're still ongoing. I'll refresh the page in a little bit.
Yeah. Braun Strowman.
And then
Even
At the end, if there's any more names.
because that tag division's kind of. I mean, I don't even know why you have women tag belts at this point. That women
They're getting rid of all of them.
Yeah, that women tag division doesn't have much left, and that was a babyface team that wasn't super over, but they were like a fun little mid-card babyface women team.
Now, again, I said they might go to Impact.
They're
Remember,
champions.
Yeah. Remember, WWE and Impact are in a working relationship.
Yeah.
So maybe they couldn't necessarily afford to have them.
Oh, yeah, WWE can't afford anybody right now.
Well, no. What I mean is that like you had, because this is around the time of year you have to make cuts.
I know, but I'm talking about the cuts they're making. This is not Braun Strowman is not fat on the show. He kind of is a good part of SmackDown. Is he the most necessary part? No, but him and Jacob Fatu's feud was pretty good, and it got Jacob on the map. And I thought their match at Saturday Night Live was very impactful for
I enjoyed what we saw when we went to SmackDown.
Yeah, I was into him there. He missed WrestleMania. Maybe that was a good indication for him, but I thought he was doing good shit on SmackDown.
Yeah, I'm floored by that. I'm floored by Cora Jade.
And I was just saying, and we haven't got to do a breakdown, so I haven't really got to say this, but I thought...
I mean, you've said it unofficially because you've just said it to me.
Yeah, but I said it because I thought it was weird that Roxanne got called out with Julia because they aren't really that affiliated in NXT. Roxanne's, heavy, even though they're both little checks, but Roxanne's, muscle and her henchman kind of is Cora Jade. And Roxanne and Cora are together. Like, so... I was like, why did I like Julia? Maybe she's more main roster ready in their opinion. I don't know. I thought Cora was ready as well because I like Cora. But I thought that if Roxanne was going to come up with anybody and she's on the main roster with this person now and they're a tag team, I thought it would be Cora Jade. So that's an interesting. I was questioning that, earlier in the week, and I was like, why isn't Cora Jade up with?
Well, I think we have our answer now.
I guess they don't want her. And I understand the TNA thing, but. That's, you used to... Also, too, I mean, AAA. Yeah, but I hope you enjoyed your time at the Hilton. Have fun at the Holiday Inn. I hope you enjoyed the great steakhouse, but you're eating at McDonald's, bitch, and you're going to like it. Like, that's what's happening. Folks. TNA's in a pretty good hot streak, and they're doing all right business. But WWE's the hottest they've ever been to leave that company, especially for a Cora Jade who's been waiting for a main roster run that has never materialized, and now she's
and the thing is, she dated Braun Breaker for a while. They broke up because I don't know who it actually was that ended it.
Triple H's business.
Okay.
Triple H.
Well, no, what I'm saying is that they didn't end on good terms, and he started dating another one of the girls in NXT, Izzy Dame, who is with Sean Spears' group right now. So I don't know if maybe there's a little bit of
tension.
I don't think the company would make a decision based on that.
No, I'm not saying they fired her because of that. I'm saying that's why she's not on the main roster is because they would have been called up at the same time. They broke up before he got called. So
maybe, but it's unfortunate, and I hope all of them end up in a good place doing good work. A lot of those people are really good talent. So
Braun Strowman getting released again, especially when he was such a main part of the program, just floors me.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm not happy about it. Like,
I mean, he was doing mid-card stuff, but he was a big part of that mid-card on SmackDown.
Yeah.
I know that's like kind of a hole to fill. Like, to me, if you were going to put him or Andrade, which one, is more of a, he's even, kind of more of a staple than like Shinsuke, and Shinsuke was a champion. So it's a little weird to me to get rid of Strowman. Yeah. But, people make the decisions they make. Maybe he was eating too much catering.
Yeah. So, I mean, I didn't
mean, big guy.
That's probably why I get fired.
So like, Doug, you've had 8 bowls of chocolate pudding. Can anybody else have some? They're like, well, they're dieting and stuff. I'm good.
I'm good. I need this belly. This is my gimmick.
Yeah.
And they're like, and they'd be like, well, get the deviled eggs out of your belly button. Saving them for later.
Yeah.
But I didn't mean to take away from Backlash, but I felt like that was kind of.
No, it is breaking news, and that's crazy news. Still, a lot of those are shocking.
Yeah.
Very.
Yeah.
But the Hardy brothers, who are doing great business for TNA right now, and probably one of the staples at TNA, they wrestled at this Backlash, and I didn't like it. You guys did a little bit. I thought the finish was good, but I'm only going to give it a 2-6.
The finish is what helped make the match. I'm going to say 2-9 just because it was a 1-5 until that finish.
Okay.
I'll give it a 2-8.
Couple of my notes. The video package I thought was a 10 out of 10. Fantastic.
Yeah.
I thought they hyped it up. Fucking amazing. I thought it was a great video. Excuse you. I thought it was a great video package. I thought the crowd was pretty behind Jeff. Chubby Matt Hardy's always fun. Used to call him Fat Hardy. A lot of the time in the ring with no weapons. And there was a whisper in the wind that Jeff hit that was really, really impressive looking. Then my last one was great. A great finish to a Cheeks match. So that's how I felt.
And this was before Jeff went back to TNA, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like not long before.
Yeah, nah. He had that summer run because his contract was up in 2000. Yep. As a matter of fact, this actually was originally his contract was up in May of 2009. But they're like, you're over, you're hot, sign an extension. So he signed an extension to stay throughout the summer.
And he won the title, and then he lost the Punk, and then Punk cashed on him, right? Or
yeah.
Something like that? Yeah.
Yeah. He won the title. Punk cashed in on him. He had the summer-long rivalry with Punk.
Which was amazing. The match with John Morrison at that time was really good, too.
Yeah. So, yeah, he did some really good stuff, but I think he knew because, like, they kept asking him, hey, will you resign? Like, will you sign a long-term deal? And he wouldn't do it. But I think that's also because a week after or 2 weeks after he left is when he got busted by the feds.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
So I think he knew he's like, oh, my ass is about ready to land in jail, so I can't necessarily be under contract.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have one of the worst segments I've ever seen in my fucking life. We had Khali and his boy.
I fast forward this.
I don't blame you. With Santino.
We probably should have.
Santino
I don't like anything Great Khali. I said it before, so I immediately fast forward it.
I didn't mind some of the Punjabi Playboy, but I thought this was one of the worst things in my fucking life, and it really felt like another. And I know Bruce Pritchard and all it was business, it was entertaining, and he sold it. So, but it really just felt like an excuse to make fun of JR.
And I like Santana.
And you had Cole with his piped in lines from Vince, and Vince telling him to make fun of him, and him just making fun of and Cole's supposed to be another baby face, and he comes across as a smarmy douchebag, and it's JR's really pissed off, and you can tell, and he's like, "Who fed you that line?" And you can tell in JR's face that he's not happy with, and they spent so much camera time on JR's face to get his reaction to Santino, and the crowd's not into it. Because Santino says, I'm already in love with another man. He's looking around to find somebody who he would, and he's like, oh, it's JR. And then, Singh, who's Khali's boy, was like, all right, you don't have to make out with this big giant anymore. We forgive you. You're in a relationship, but you got to go make out with that Oklahomian. And JR's like, I ain't fucking doing that. And that was kind of entertaining, but it just felt like a fucking let's pick on JR. And I know JR went in the back, was like, man, what the fuck? Why we? And Vince like, it's entertainment, pal. The crowd loved it. But, the crowd didn't love it.
Yeah, I don't think they really cared.
It fucking sucked. It was stupid. It was terrible. Some of the shittiest Vince, like our Sharon, who's a guest on the show and did great numbers, by the way, has been really getting
Sharon equals ratings.
Sharon equals ratings. And she's been really getting into wrestling again because wrestling's been good again. And, we're blessed and it's awesome. And, she loves watching, the angles and the matches, and she's been really into it. That was something that I was sitting there, and she's sitting there, and I wanted to tell her to go upstairs, or I wanted to, because that's one of the things that could ruin the business for somebody. And that's one of the, like, oh, wrestling's corny and shitty, and it's like this. That's one of the things. If you're trying to get somebody into wrestling, keep them the fuck away from this, because that's one of those things. Like, this is corny and bullshit, and I hate it. And it's not funny, and it's trying to be funny, and it's stupid and immature, and it sucks.
Yeah.
And that's some of the worst Vince shit, and that's a Vince segment, and it's so bad. And I'm glad they don't do shit like that anymore, because it fucking sucked.
Oh,
and
I want to go well. I want to go well in 2025.
And then Beth Phoenix comes out, and she loses to Santino and drag, and Kali hits a woman, and that's the way it goes. And it's fucking stupid.
And then she eliminates him from the Royal Rumble 6 months later.
Since it's a match, I'll give it a 0 out of 10 because I got no entertainment.
I 100% wholeheartedly.
-1.
I get what they were trying to do with Beth, and Santino, and he, and he takes advantage of the situation, and he's clever, or she, or whatever the fuck, and he beats Beth Phoenix because Beth got hit by a man, and which I don't mind intergender wrestling, but Kali just kind of struck her, and
he just kind of
he walloped her ass. And then, the big payoff to the end of that is now Kali's cornering Santino, and, we get to play on that because that's so funny of a man forcing himself on another man in drag. What the fuck are we doing here? This shit sucks.
I'll tell you, the most babyface thing Donald Trump ever did was when he fired Santino like a couple months later.
Yeah. I don't blame him for that.
No, not at all.
All right. Next up, we have the 6-man tag, which is Triple H with Batista and the man that Triple H usurped the company from, Shane McMahon, or Shane O'Mac, the heir apparent that isn't in the company right now. Watch the Vince doc, ladies and gentlemen. But the Vince doc was that. Everybody acts like it was great fucking shit, which it's all shit we already knew anyway. But Triple H and you, that's all a joke. I would love to write for your company. I would love to commentate or whatever. It's all a joke. But Triple H is the man in charge now, and this is when he was a badass and he was the game, and it's him and Batista. And Batista was my favorite from this era. And even here, he still had some steam, and this is kind of before his big heel turn. But I always liked Batista. And Shane O'Mac, he was one of my guys as a kid. I really whenever he went babyface and he was flying himself off of shit, I always fucked with Shane McMahon. And, I was a bit of a mama's boy. I would protect my mom. So, like, when Kane tombstones Linda and, Shane comes out to defend his mom, that's relatable shit. And, I wish I related to his bank account. But
I'm the same way.
Shane McMahon's always been somebody that I fucked with. And so these three is a very strong team. And then you basically have a Hall of Fame ring if you take out the $1 Million Man's kid. But and then you have Teddy Jr., a young Cody Rhodes, baby, mine and Eric's guy, who's still, buried alive. And we're waiting.
Isn't it weird to see Cody this young and so green?
Yeah, next to Randy, and they sold their asses off because Randy runs away, and the whole fucking first 10 minutes of the match is Batista, Shane, and Triple H getting their shit in, not fucking Cody and Ted. And poor Cody's.
This is when I became a fan of Cody. When he was in Legacy.
Oh, dude. You're lying your ass off.
No.
You're fucking lying. That'd be like if earlier I said, that was the same thing with what I said with Punk and ROH. You were not into Cody through this. Fuck you. I got into Cody like every reasonable fan right before Double or Nothing. right into fucking... Right when he was going on his American Nightmare run. That's when I started fucking with Cody hard. I don't fake and Cody's my favorite wrestler in the business. I will proudly be a Cody crybaby, and I'm fine with that. But I'm not going to lie and say that I like Mustache Cody or Stardust Cody or fucking. I cheered hard when him and his brother fucking, and I got to see it live when they fought.
I think I shared this story with Doug before, but I was in Disney World, and I think I ran into Cody.
What?
Yeah. I swear. I was going to the bathroom, and I think I ran into Cody Rhodes, and I said,
"You sure it wasn't just a regular black-haired fellow with a lisp?"
Yeah.
And by the way, he runs into him in the bathroom, and Cody looks at him and goes, "That is a dashing penis."
outside the bathroom.
Cody was taking a shit, and he just heard from the stall, "Whoa!"
Time for smoking.
This was back. It was back like in 2008, 2009, or whatever, when he was young.
Oh, so back when he still needed Dusty's permission to go on the Mad Hatter, right?
I guess.
By the way, Cornette and Last talked about a little bit on their podcast, so I'm not going to take this as an original thought. But the amount of superstars with "whoa" in their song now, and it's different versions of it. Like Cody has the "whoa," and then Becky Lynch has "whoa," and then Sami Zayn is "whoa," and fucking Seth Rollins has "whoa." It's just all different versions of "whoa."
Isn't Lyra's like "woo"?
Yeah, hers is "woo," so it's a W, but it's a little different. But they're just taking "whoa" and doing different fucking shit with it. AJ Styles next team is going to be like, "You don't whoa none. You don't whoa none." But yeah, I just found that funny, and they kind of made that observation. Like,
although Cody's American Nightmare was before he went back.
Yeah, he did the whoa before WWE, so.
Yep.
But he didn't do the whoa like he does now at AEW. I watched fucking AEW, and he was not doing the whoa with the fireworks and shit.
No,
I'm pretty sure that's a WWE creation, but. It was in the song, but I don't remember the crowd doing it either. They cheered Cody, but I don't remember them going, "Whoa!"
They might have at first.
They might have. I can't remember. By the end, they were fucking rooting for him like how the WWE fans are rooting for him now. Fucking shitting on the poor guy.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when you have a horrible match with Cena.
that's what happens when you get booked into oblivion. By multiple companies. I was thinking, who has been fucked over more on top? Cody Rhodes and Macho Man, I think are the two big superstars that always got fucked at some point.
And John Cena to Hogan.
Yeah, John Cena's Hogan and Cody's Macho.
Yep.
There you go. The 6-man tag.
Brandy's Elizabeth.
Brandy's Elizabeth.
Oh boy!
All right, we got to leave that. But Cody and Ted, I think, got about a minute of being able to throw stomps in the corner, but then Randy came back. It was a good match with good energy and good momentum, and like I said, everybody in this will probably end up in the WWE Hall of Fame except for Ted Jr. And it's funny that Ted Jr. was the one that was seen as the one with potential, even by
he was supposed to be the one that even more talented than Cody.
Ted was the guy. It wasn't Cody.
Yep.
And Ted was supposed to have the babyface run, not Randy.
Yeah, and Ted, but also after that match, the triple threat, Ted kind of had the heel run with the $1 million title, and they were
well again. Or go ahead. Sorry.
You do Cody with dashing and stuff, but Ted was clearly positioned to be more of a star at first.
Yeah, but the original plan was that Ted was going to turn on Randy. And he was going to be the big baby face. But Randy got cheered because they had to pivot and they had to do Randy Orton versus Sheamus at Royal Rumble 2010 because John Cena, knowing he was going to lose, said, "Hey, I pulled the muscle on my back. I can't work. I can work the Royal Rumble. I can do that." Unless I'm gonna, he technically lost the Rumble anyway, so it really doesn't matter. But he's like, "Yeah, I can't work Sheamus." So they put Randy Orton in there. Well, everybody hated Sheamus at that time, so they started cheering Randy Orton, and then creative's just like, "Why are they cheering this motherfucker? We're supposed to turn one of his guys babyface, not him." So then they pivoted and they went with Randy instead.
Yeah. And that was a match where it's the future versus Randy, and someone from the future is going to end up being a star in this. And it was like, nope, Randy's going to kick both their asses.
Yeah.
But I always enjoy it. Randy is one of the hardest to go against because when you talk about who's a better babyface, who's better as a heel. Randy is one of those ones that it's really hard to nail, and a lot of people go towards the heel route and say he is way better as this cold, calculating heel with voices in his head. But there is something about fun-loving Randy that is so fucking awesome to watch.
Yeah.
And even Randy now, and like the fact that his big spiel to fucking John was, hey man, you need to have kids and chill the fuck out. I was crazy too. I had a couple of little ones and now I'm fine. Figure it out, brother. And like I like the fun, and him as buddies with Kevin Owens and even Riddle before that. Him as a fun-loving babyface is actually really fucking good.
Like the big brother. He's like the big brother.
He's a good big brother, especially now. He really fits into the role now. But even like that 2009 babyface run, it was really good shit. And he is a good babyface that gets good reactions. And now he has built-in respect for life. To where it's you're gonna cheer Randy, whatever Randy like Orton. That was our favorite part of SmackDown, at least mine, is getting to see Randy Orton.
Yeah,
and live, and
the fans singing the voices now.
Singing voices, yeah, it was the whole experience.
So
is awesome. Randy's the fucking man, but so I can see why they went that route. He was a good heel here too. I think this is the opposite of the Hardys match. I thought this was a pretty damn good match. Good 6-man. And I'm not a huge 6-man fan, but I thought this is a pretty good 6-man or a trios match for Eric in the AEW community. But it was a good 6-man. And then I thought the finish was shitty on this, though. I didn't like the finish as much. And I thought and they took way too long with Triple H going into the stretcher. So sometimes it's like, all right, can we get to the fucking main event?
Yeah.
But they did the same thing with Cena.
It was a cool, witty heel win, but when you already have a witty heel win to end the show, this one felt a little, it felt like an excuse to put the belt on Randy. They could have just done Randy and Triple H and burned the house down, it felt like. So
yeah, I was surprised this wasn't the main event.
Especially when they kind of had a WrestleMania match that not a lot of people liked. They could have just used this opportunity to fucking be like, no, these guys have great chemistry. And instead, they kind of muddied it up a little bit. And yeah, it was all right, but overall, I'm only going to give it a 3.
I'm going to say 3-1.
Okay.
I'll give it a 3-6. How long was Triple H out after this?
He came back like 2 months later because Batista got hurt. Because Batista tore his tricep in a steel cage match with Cody Rhodes.
Wow.
So that's why Cody's getting punished by Triple H now. It's for
hurt my boy
16 years ago, but still.
I don't think Triple H is the one that's got it against Cody, though. I think it's my boy.
Rock.
Oh, yeah. It's a story, and I know they're just great, and they're working me, but something in my head just really feels like that guy hates the man.
Well, and here's
he talks about him, too.
Here's the way I kind of feel about it.
Yeah.
Because everybody's saying, oh, Rock, the whole thing. Rock got himself on the board of I truly believe Rock, the only reason why Rock is on that fucking board of directors, the TKO board of directors, is because he knew he wanted to do the WrestleMania match last year. And if he's the fucking boss, or one of the bosses, he's going to get his way. So he got himself put on the board of directors so he could get the match with Roman. He was not expecting, because he's beloved, and I'm not saying that he's not. I think he is. I'm not going to...
He isn't now.
People
are
turning on him because they feel like he should have gone to WrestleMania.
Well, and it started way before that.
But
people just find little character things to hate on Rock about now. Which before he was universally.
We haven't seen him since Elimination Chamber.
Black Adam and after is when it started.
Well, yeah, the whole DC thing, I think, but because he felt like he was beloved, it's like the fans are going to be okay with this. They like Cody Rhodes better. He gets himself put on the board of directors, and he's like, all right, we're going to do this, and people are going to be happy. No, they're not. So they had to pivot. So, yeah, he probably secretly is just like, you motherfucker. Even though it's the people that are just like, dude, you know what we wanted. If you watch the fucking you're going to get put on the fucking board of directors. Watch the fucking program and know this guy is over.
For a young fan going on YouTube, it's gonna break my heart if they're like, I really like this Cody Rhodes guy. Let me watch some clips. And the first clip they watch is Cody giving Rock the main event on SmackDown, like before the most disliked video on YouTube for WWE. If they watch that and then they watch the Cena match, like if that's your introduction to Cody, you're never gonna want to watch fucking Cody ever again. You're like, this guy blows. This shitty fucking good guy. But because they put him in some weird booking positions. But he's also, a generational talent that always gets past it. And sometimes they make him look fucking amazing. So, but I take back, like when I said the ultimate trilogy is you watch 39, you watch him lose, then you watch night 1 of 40, and you watch him lose again, and then you watch night 2, and you watch one of the best trilogies in wrestling. Don't go for the 4th movie. Right. Skip the Cena one.
More breaking news.
Okay.
Oh, no.
They're really fucking up here. Shakara Jackson.
Oh.
Wow.
Lash Legends tag team partner.
Yeah. Well, Lash was, I think.
Lash is the star.
Yeah. But, dude, like I said, the women's tag division, I think they might get rid of the belts.
Well, I mean, Liv's going away anyway.
Yeah, they might have to get rid of the fucking belts. There's no more teams.
They're breaking them all up. I didn't mean to take away, but when I saw that, I'm just like, all right, I gotta, because they did a big moment where they all went their separate ways. On the metaphor group, they all went their separate ways Tuesday night, and now all of a sudden, she's gonna be, in the unemployment line.
Yeah.
And I would not be surprised if one of the other members of Metaphor or Mensa is right behind her.
So there you go.
Even though she's another one, she just did stuff on TNA.
All right, let's get to the main event here. John Cena and Edge, last man standing.
I was kind of trying to. I did not like this finish.
It was a shitty finish.
Well, and the reason why it was a shitty finish is because you have a 400-pound banana cream pie coming out, or 500-pound, whatever the fuck he was at the time, coming out and sticking his big fat fucking head, his King Kong Bundy looking head, where it doesn't fucking belong. I hated Big Show in 2009 because he was a hemorrhoid that would not fucking go away.
Yeah, and it's funny, you go to Battleground, the one we went to that I referenced when Cody and Dustin beat the Shield. That main event gets ruined by Big Show too.
Yeah.
Big Show comes in and just fucks everybody up, and then it's like a DQ, weird finish.
And I understand that he's not going up and saying, "Hey, I got to get involved in this match," and they're like, "Okay." I understand.
This is marching orders.
That
he's doing his job.
That you're being told, but dude, you fucking blow. You look like they basically took leftover fat from King Kong Bundy and they just made you.
Oh, Jesus. My favorite Big Show is always early the Giant in WCW.
That's mine too, because I feel like he was, even though his work was just Jimmy Hart jumping on the apron so he could chokeslam the guy right away.
Yeah.
It was still.
I thought he was presented how he should be.
Yeah. He was going the way he should. And then because he still couldn't work, he's like, oh, I can punch people. And so his matches only had to go 10 seconds because all he had to do was punch somebody. It's just like, Big Show, you don't belong in the fucking main event. Yes, at WrestleMania, the storyline was you got to see Vicky Guerrero naked in the shower.
That's true?
The storyline was he was in love with Vicky.
Oh, okay.
That Vicky and Big Show were having an affair, and she was storyline married to Edge. So she was cheating on Edge, good-looking man, with, he's throwing up now, he was cheating on Edge with Big Show.
Yeah.
By the way, that's a sex tape nobody wants to see.
Yeah, because that was the other title match, was Big Show, Edge, and Cena at WrestleMania, and it sucked.
Yeah, it fucking blew.
But they still had that still shot of Cena holding both of them up on his. That moment, that is a WrestleMania moment.
Yeah.
So you got to give them that. Edge and Cena have way better matches than this in their portfolio.
Oh yeah,
they have way.
You think it was PG era that really fucked them here?
Yeah, to an extent. But I also just thought the match was a little plotting. I thought they really tried to build it up in the ring, like I said earlier. I do think that they didn't really go hardcore until towards the end. And that might have hurt it a bit. But it was still, they got good heat and stuff. And Edge is a great, obsessed heel. And, John was a good babyface. And this is a great rivalry. But it didn't have the steam that they had in previous years, in my opinion. So I personally like the finish because I think it's a cool ending and it's a cool shot seeing Cena get chokeslammed into the light. I agree the Big Show's inclusion is unnecessary, but if you're going to give the belt to Edge, I find that to be a cool way to do it. It would have been cooler if he speared him through it or something, but just seeing Edge or John Cena get put through the light and the explosion and shit, I thought it was actually a pretty
and then the fire coming out but in the back.
Yeah, so I didn't mind the finish in that aspect. So
I don't think this should be in the main event.
I'll give this match another 3. Well, it makes sense because it's a big fight feel with Edge and Cena. I was excited to watch this back because we've reviewed this feud before. I love this feud.
Oh, I love it.
A lot of people, because people have the rose-colored glasses, people forget that they used to hate Cena and Orton. But all the love that Cena and Orton's getting right now, that was Edge and Cena back in the day. That was the feud for the Ruthless Aggression. Yeah. So, but yeah, the PG era might have killed it. I don't know. I'm going to give this a 2-9 because I do think that the 2 main event names did show up and work hard and did try, but it did have some things going against it.
Big Show ruined it for me, so I'm going to say 2-7.
Okay.
I'm going to give it a solid 3.
So there you go. All right. For the pay-per-view as a whole, for Backlash 2009, I'm going to give this a solid 7-7 because I thought it had action all across the board. I thought the in-ring matches were actually mostly very well done. Yes, the main event, had some weird stuff to it, but it's still, as far as a main event pay-per-view for not like a WrestleMania or something, I thought it was standard. It wasn't.
Yeah. I mean, this was probably one of the, this was a decent Backlash.
Yeah, I thought it was a consistent. Is it one of my favorite Backlashes of all time? No. But for the PG era, or like just getting into that, it was cool seeing Randy Orton kind of enter his prime. Yeah. And it was cool seeing, Edge when he was still pretty good. And it was still seeing a really good Cena and stuff like that. So there was aspects of it and seeing Shane O'Mac and stuff. And a lot of the wrestling was really good in-ring work. So nothing was spectacular, but I thought it was a pretty consistent and good pay-per-view.
Yeah. This is, to me, you could definitely tell they're going in PG era.
Yeah.
But you were building, I mean, some of the finishes were just like, okay, Punk should have gone over, and whatever. It's a lot of what I saw, I did enjoy Santina and Kali and Beth Phoenix. But this was a really good start because this Backlash, in the days that they did the draft, Backlash was always kind of like that point where it's just like, okay, all the old stuff ends, so now the new stuff can begin.
Yeah.
Yep.
So as a whole, I give the show an 8-1.
Okay.
And by the way, just real quick, a lot of people now are calling for Triple H to burn in hell. And they're saying on Twitter right now, or on X right now, they're like, "Oh God, I guess WWE doesn't like women anymore."
Eric, what's your rating for the pay-per-view?
I thought it was a solid pay-per-view. All great, all good matches all around. I liked it, so I'm gonna give it a 7.5 out of 10. Probably one of the better pay-per-views we've done in a while.
And based on your last point, it's going to be a hell of an episode next week. Real quick, what's the cartoon show tomorrow?
Tomorrow night, and we'll get it out and promoted as soon as possible. Tomorrow night, the Cartoon Classic continues with SpongeBob SquarePants versus Heathcliff.
So yes, I will schedule that after we get off the air.
Big heavy-duty fight tomorrow. Check that out. And next week, a bit apropos, especially after what Doug just said before.
Eric just looks like a pair of eyes right now.
I know, but he's a sexy pair of eyes. Next week's episode, what we will be doing is we will be looking into the booking of Triple H. We're going to be doing a current episode next week for the first time. And we're going to be analyzing Triple H's booking so far. What we like, what we don't like, the stories, the superstars that he's into and who he's not into, and just what we think and what we've been liking and not liking so far. So we're going to be talking about Triple H's booking. And it's going to be a good time, and we'll see everybody next week.
Yeah.
And next week's Backlash too, right?
Huh?
Next Saturday's Backlash.
No, next Saturday.
Yeah.
And Eric, also get some shorts up from this episode, please.
Yep. You got it.
We'll see everybody next time. Bye-bye.
Later.
I'm still here if you can't see me.